My thoughts on what's going on with CERN, shaping timelines, and the 4th of July as someone that studies patterns and metaphysics for a living. CERN announced that it's shutting down its collider, and right off the bat, that was the worst term to use for this because if you shut down your computer, nothing happens. It's completely off. However, if your computer or your phone is getting an upgrade, your phone is off, but what is it doing? Recalibrating. It is upgrading its server. It is allowing and aligning for more things to process and download so that it will function better and faster. So this 4-year period of the collider shutting down is really about it's getting its upgrade. And while that upgrade is happening, we have to look at it like a bridge is being created. So from now until 2030, there is a bridge that has a certain purpose of initiating and installing and speeding up and accelerating, not just time, because time isn't really real, but what is our representation of it. What is our identity and our relationship with matter, with physical things. And all of that, the particles are what are going to be shape-shifting, and this bridge, as it's being built with this upgrade, essentially is going to bring us to another world, but that another world will feel heightened because our relationship to it will be as well. CERN has a very interesting relationship with Capricorn. On June 29th, when it announced the shutdown, there was a full moon in Capricorn. On September 10th, 2008, when CERN officially started, the moon was in what? Oh, Capricorn. Now, it was a waxing gibbous, which means it's 10 days after the new moon. On July 4th of 2012, that's when CERN announced its discovery of the Higgs boson, also known as the God particle. What was going on that day? Not only was it 4th of July, there was also a full moon in Capricorn. How about that? And then 6 months later, on the winter solstice, Capricorn season, we entered into what many believe is the age of Aquarius. It was also the end of the Mayan calendar. The qualities of Capricorn, especially when it's used by an organization, are all around leadership, control, structure, global governance, and legacy. Is also connected to Saturn. Saturn is about rules and how we are moving things forward. Further, the God particle that was discovered was really about this idea that the universe is everywhere. The field is all around you and within you, which was a really interesting shift from 2012 to 2013 when we started to wake up more so with the Aquarian principles of the power's not outside of you. God is not just one singular thing. You have a God within you, and you are multidimensional. You have a range of interests and gifts and ways to experience life. And over the last 15 years, we have seen more and more and more how in so many ways we have become separate from one another. We can literally live in an apartment building with a bunch of different people and have no idea who they are, and everyone in each and every apartment could literally be looking at different TV shows, listening to different music, reading different books, all have different algorithms. Whereas back in the day, it used to be very much the village concept. Everyone knew who everybody was, and everyone had a collective purpose in working together, which has created for many of us fragmented timelines. And that's why we're starting to see you're living your life this way, I'm living my life that way, and we're also waking up more and more to that understanding, to that knowing that if CERN has this figured out, maybe we can have it figured out too. And then in some ways, it does make us all feel we're running our own separate Truman shows as a result. Really interesting duality happening where technology is helping us see that we actually have multiple interests and we all kind of live in our own different worlds. And is that the intent? Is that the purpose of this timeline, of this era that we chose to be here in this earth? And are we not just moving towards a new earth, but are we really moving to multiple versions of Earth? And CERN is clearly on to that, and they are fragmenting timelines with a lot of the work that they're doing. That's why we see things like the Mandela effect. That's why timelines that have been expired, when we look back, we remember them differently. and it's hard to tell what is the truth, what isn't. I think that's why as humans we grasp to the past and nostalgia. That's why we make sure that movies and fashion come back around again to remind us of what life used to be like, so we don't completely lose that connection. We don't become so out of touch as we shape the new way forward, because our beings only know right here, right now. Technically, none of this is real. Technically, time isn't really something that can be calculated. And so if all we know is right here, right now, then we can pull from the past, we can lean into the future. But if we forget the past entirely, or if it's taken from us, then our future is just shaped from nothingness. And I believe that that's something that they're playing with, so to speak. I believe that CERN is literally using their technology to deorganize our collective as a way for them to, I don't think it's all meant to be harmful, but I do think it's science and experimentation sometimes puts humanity and integrity on the back burner. So we bring in the 4th of July. So again, 4th of July, 2012, right before the Aquarian age, the Mayan calendar ended. CERN discovered the God particle. Here we are again, 4th of July. But this time, we are acknowledging 250 years since the Declaration of Independence was signed. Now, Pluto and Capricorn, there's our friend Capricorn again, they were together from January of 1762 until winter solstice of 1788. During that window, the Declaration of Independence was signed. Why was it signed? New governance, a new way to move things forward, a sense of independence. And when CERN started right when Pluto, for the very first time since that window, went back into Capricorn. Pluto took a couple hundred years, and then it was from January of 2008 until 2024 that Pluto and Capricorn were together. That's when CERN started its legacy projects. How in so many ways, life is trying to show us, the individual, how to move forward, how to be independent of anyone, anything else, even God itself, because what we're also recognizing that God isn't just you, God is a multiverse, and so are you. And so the more that we open up to those perspectives, the more we actually have a sense of self if we allow the space for it to formulate. However, coinciding with that is a lot of restrictions and powers that be that don't necessarily want us to know that and want to keep things in that more singular format. And I believe that that's what some of this technology plays into. What I see over these next 4 years, especially with a lot of the astrology that's happening in 2026, is we're in this real period of renaissance. We're in this period of, it is all collapsing and falling apart, but not in a way that you should fear. Fear is not going to manifest in the way that you think. And if anything, the way that things are recalibrating, the revelation, if you will, won't be anything that you can't handle. And I want you to trust that. I want you to trust in not only the ways that the outside world is recalibrating, but the ways that your inner world is recalibrating right now. And to take it day by day and to build your own bridge forward, your own way of being, your own path that has a multitude of options. And so if things are feeling old, stagnant, stale, move on, shift out. You are allowed to do that. Let me know what you think and keep going. You got this.